Our next speaker, Justin McKinney. Justin is the director of the University of Tennessee, Northeast Tennessee Ag Research and Education Center here in Greenville, Tennessee. It is one of the 10 UT Ag Research and Education Centers across the state. The Northeast Tennessee Center is the only one serving the agricultural and natural resources interest in this area. Justin is going to come up and talk to us and give us an overview of the research station and the things that are going on and some of the changes. Justin.
Testing, can everyone hear me? Well, thank you, Mike, for inviting me to the meeting today. I'm looking forward to interacting with everyone today. We do have a new name and a new focus on our research programs. We were traditionally known as the Tobacco Experiment Station, founded in 1932. However, that particular research focus was very narrow in scope, only focused in on tobacco. Greene County is the number 2 cattle producing county in the state of Tennessee, which also has a rich history in burley tobacco production, so I believe a mixture in both plant and animal science is logical. So I hope to illustrate that today with our new name and new purpose. We have a neat little acronym. We're known as NETREC in our system. Here's a brief outline slide to kind of give you an idea where I'm headed with my presentation and to keep me on my focal points. I want to talk about the station's personnel, a little bit about our histories, show you some pictures of our facilities, pick up on our current research programs, as well as talk about some future research opportunities with some of our USDA proposals that we have right now working with the vet school and our outreach program. I'm not a huge fan of talking about myself, but I'd like to give you just a quick synopsis about my background because I think it's relevant for you to understand how I think, especially when it comes time to illustrate what our goals and visions are for the research center. I grew up in a family business, an agribusiness in South Central Florida, so every single household expenses were paid for with farm gate receipts. I do have a deep appreciation for research after serving nearly 20 years in the university system, but I blend those two together when I make daily decisions on the farm. Because if it's not a feasible application, it's hard for me to actually try to implement something like that on the farm. I do have I'm a 2-time graduate of the University of Florida. Please don't hold that against me. They give me that a hard time around here about that. But I have an undergraduate degree in ag business, but my graduate work is in agronomy, specifically plant breeding. I also spent some time in the ag industry, worked specifically with several veterinarians and Bayer Crop Science. I thought I wanted to be a sales rep selling chemicals, found out that industry is a little too volatile to me, fell back to higher ed, and I've really enjoyed my journey. Happy to be here in Tennessee. I've spent 14 years working as an operations manager for the University of Florida. Left there, went to Eastern Kentucky University, where it was more of an administrative role, where I oversaw some large capital improvement projects, such as transitioning a robotic milking dairy from a conventional to a robotic system, as well as building a low-stress beef handling facility designed by Temple Grandin herself. Been here at UT for about 1.5 years, and we really enjoy the families in Greene County school system. It's just a wonderful place to raise family, and I look forward to building strong relationships and alliances throughout my time here. So enough about me, more about the center. The strongest asset for the center is our personnel. Although we are small in number, each one of the gentlemen here in this screen have spent most of their career on the research center, anywhere from 20 to 35 years worth. So their level of expertise when it comes to research is far more superior than what I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They're just a great group of people. They care about what they do, and they really like to contribute to society in the form of research. Not pictured in this scene is my newly hired assistant in the office. Her name is Amy Losh. She started about 2 weeks ago. She's a Greene County native, and she's a two-time master's degree graduate. She has a master's degree from ETSU and a master's degree from Georgia. So I'll let you figure out which one's worse, Florida graduate or Georgia graduate. But she is an outstanding person, and she's going to do a great job helping me in the office. And we hope to be able to utilize some of her skills in producing a more vibrant website, as well as possibly generating some quarterly meeting posted things for meetings like this and participating in workshops throughout the region. So, we were formerly known as the Tobacco Experiment Station, founded in 1932, and throughout that time, the center focused in on burley tobacco production. Under Dr. Bob Miller's program, he has released several varieties that have had huge impact throughout the region, and he's also helped develop agronomic techniques known as the pour-board seeder, as well as taken float bed technology from a greenhouse setting and moving it outside to help small mom and pop farms be able to grow and generate their own tobacco transplants. So this center played a major role in that development. The center used to have a small herd of Hereford cattle about 20 to 30 years ago. However, in more recent years, the center was absent from livestock. But I'm happy to announce today we've been able to reintroduce livestock, so now we're running anywhere from 200 to 300 stockers on the property 365 days out of the year. So that's an additional resource for our faculty that may have an interest in studying stockers. It's a short drive from Knoxville to come over here and to conduct some research. I think that's also very fitting for a rich cattle country county such as Greenville. For those of you, how many people have been out on the research center? So that's about half. For those of you who have not been out on the research center, it's probably one of the prettiest research centers throughout the Southeast. Gently upland farm suited for both livestock and crop enterprises. We've been able to grow and expand our fencing opportunities so we can graze more land for cattle. We have about 250 acres at this time. 75 acres for our research and crop rotation. We also have multiple housing units. I put this slide in here because I think it's a great opportunity for us to have students come from Knoxville, spend time out on the research center collecting their data and also conducting experiential learning techniques out on the farm. So we are blessed to have an intern house, a duplex, and a brick home. The intern house is ready to go, so any faculty members that are in the room that may have an interest in putting a student on the center, we're ready to go. The other two houses may need some renovations, but in time, hopefully we'll be able to invest in that so we can help serve the next generation of students studying agriculture. As Mike previously mentioned, there are 10 research centers represented across the state. We are the only one east of Knoxville, our flagship campus. But with all these research centers in here, we have to make sure that we are relevant and that we are contributing within not only Greenville, but within a region. So that was kind of the story behind the name change. And one of my personal goals is that I hope to, as it states right here, we hope to discover and prove scientific fundamentals that will improve agronomic and livestock production practices for Upper East Tennessee producers by improving profitability at the farm gate. That's what it's all about. Some of our current research, we went through a transition for about 3 years where we didn't really have a whole lot of activities because we were in the middle of transitioning from one administration to the next. We have a new Dean of Research. His name's Hong Wei Shin. Dr. Shin hired me to come in and bring research back to the center, so we were able to help Dr. Miller restart some of his programs. Some of these tests were up in the University of Kentucky. We've been able to bring them back. And for the last 12 years, Dr. Miller has been tasked with trying to change the chemistry in tobacco by lowering the alkaloid content to create a less harmful product. That task is done through backcrossing. Backcrossing takes time, especially when you're trying to insert 3 different genes that can express a lower alkaloid level. We've been working on that, but with that, we still have to go to the field and test the disease assessment to see if these cultivars also carried on their parental lines of disease resistancy out in the field, especially when it comes to soil-borne diseases like black shank. We also have recultivated our relationship with our private industries. We have private industries that planted some variety tests with us last year, and they're also going to move forward with planning more variety tests in the future. So we're so happy to see that collaboration back at our center. We also have Dr. Zach Hansen. He's our extension plant pathologist. He's studying black shank. He's working with several chemical companies with a soil-borne disease to see, measuring a number of compounds that can fight that soil-borne disease through chemical treatment. So we're happy to have Zach on board. Our UT's new hire is Dr. Mitchell Richmond. He's from Eastern Kentucky. He comes to us from a tobacco company in Canada. He just started on April the 1st. We're looking forward to working with him. He'll play more of an agronomy role as well as an education role. So he's got a 75% extension appointment, 25% research. What are some of the new crops that are coming to the center? Field crops, specifically talking about corn and soybeans. Dr. Virginia Sykes, she took over for Dr. Fred Allen's program, testing varieties across the state. Her primary focus used to be on the middle of the state in western Tennessee, rightfully so. A lot of row crops are grown there, but sometimes genetics do not express high yield in territories other than those that are studied. So now she's going to have NetRec as a new site for testing these varieties. We're very excited to be able to add that location into her program. So for producers such as yourself, you might be able to go to her website, recognize, oh, that's the research center there in Greenville, and I can see that that variety outperformed the one I was thinking of. And maybe you can make your own decision on changing from one variety to the next. So we're looking forward to being able to publish some data right here in Greenville for that aspect. Dr. Vince Pantalone is interested in working with us as well. So another breeder on site. Not only will we have Dr. Miller's tobacco program, but we're going to have Dr. Pantalone. Dr. Pantalone's study for the past 25 years has been focused in on developing varieties that work well in West Tennessee. Well, there's a lot of land here in East Tennessee where we could grow some soybeans, especially if we have the opportunity to take those soybeans and roast them and maybe put it into a TMR mix for a dairy or beef operation. So Dr. Pantalone has agreed to start testing some of his lines over here in Upper East Tennessee to accomplish that goal. So we're really excited about that. He also has a new high oleic line that has there's a Southwest Missouri Biofuel Center that's interested in maybe seeing if that line would be a viable option for biofuels. So we'll see how that pans out. Dr. Pat Kaiser, how many people know Dr. Pat Kaiser? 2, 3, 4? Well, Dr. Kaiser's been studying warm season native grasses on our center for about 15 or 18 years. This is a picture where we burnt his switchgrass off about 10 days ago. He's continuing on with this program, as well as Dr. Forbes Walker is joining that. He's out of our soil science department because of regenerative agriculture. They're looking at whether or not switchgrass, Indian grass, big blue stem, little blue stem, can help improve grazing capabilities during the summer slump months. And we have a new graduate student that's looking at the soil profiles. We have Dr. Bates. He's the director of the UT Beef and Forage virtual website. He's planted several different fescue varieties as well as orchard varieties, so we'll have that data coming out of our center, as well as a long-term faculty member studying forestry. Dr. Schlarbaum has a stand of oak and black cherries. I would like to highlight our consumer horticulture program. We have Dr. Natalie Bumgarter that also works with Melody Rose. Melody, wave to me. Melody is one of the hardest working agents I've ever had the pleasure of working with, and she really utilizes the center with her master garden program with spring plant sales, grafting, and a station garden. It's a great partnership that we have here in Greene County working with her as an agent, and I can't speak high enough about her. She deserves all the accolades in the world, and I know you'll get to hear her presentation on cover crops here later on. She's a great speaker, and we love working with her. Here's 3 rows of blueberries that were recently planted with Melody and Natalie. So we're looking to grow and develop that consumer horticulture niche. There's a lot of people that are interested in that in this particular region. We're also planting strawberries. We're looking to develop a rock garden and plant apple and mulberry trees throughout the center. So hopefully you'll get to see some beautiful landscape take place on the center in the next few years. What are some of the future research projects? I briefly mentioned that the College of Veterinary Medicine is interested in working with us with large animal health concerns. We have 2 research proposals put in right now. If they're funded, we will study things like BVD and other persistent infected diseases here at the center. We also have our food scientists that are interested in utilizing our center. Most of the time, food scientists, they don't really use a rec center. But Dr. John Manafo, he's interested in studying different varieties of hemp. And I kid you not, he found out that once you get past the dirty sock smell, he was able to extract 4 or 5 different flavors such as jasmine, pineapple, citrus. And he thinks that that is an opportunity to maybe enter into the organic drink market. So we're happy to have someone like Dr. Manafo utilizing our center for something like that. I briefly mentioned Dr. Forbes Walker. Here's some of the areas that he's interested in studying here in Upper East Tennessee. We do have Richland Creek that runs parallel across the center, so we can study water quality, environmental impacts. And the big heading right here, regenerative agriculture. I think that's why we're all here in the room today. We have our extension outreach program. We have a rich history with our Beef Expo. Beef Expo draws anywhere from 450 to 500 people every October. We look to expand that, continue to do in-person as well as maybe virtual meetings. Kids Day, I am a father of 4 young sons, so I believe in investing, sowing seeds of agriculture into our youth. So if we can grow and expand that and get the kids out of the classroom onto the farm, I think that there's going to be a greater appreciation from where our food comes from. It doesn't come from Food City or Publix, it comes from the farmer, just like you. We want to continue to improve our relationships or collaborate with our industry partners by maybe conducting twilight tours throughout the year. And then here's a new topic that's come up, a regional livestock association meeting, maybe quarterly meetings to not only include beef cattle, but maybe small ruminants. And the center can be utilized for those meetings. I invite you to come out and see the center, and this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And well, that's exciting. A lot of good new things that are going on out at the research center.